Our media availabilities here at Watkins Glen. We are now joined by Chase Elliott, the driver of the number 24 Sun Energy 1 Chevrolet. Chase, you have 6 top 5 finishes in your rookie season thus far, and in 2 previous starts at Watkins Glen, both in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, you have 2 top 10 finishes. Do you think this is the place where you can start another streak of top 10s like you had from Talladega to Michigan?
I hope so. I think this has definitely been a really fun place to come. I enjoy road racing. We didn't have a very good run at Sonoma, which makes you question some days how much you like it. But it was still fun to me. I know we didn't have a good run out there, but I'm excited about this weekend. This is a very different animal. We had a test up here a few weeks ago. Thought we learned some good ideas and things to come into this weekend with, and try to have a better direction of how to start. So I'm excited about that and looking forward to getting the weekend started.
Awesome. And we'll start up here in the front with questions. We'll get a wireless mic to you.
Tires that don't really fall off that much on a new track surface, and you won't have the downforce that you were accustomed to years past. Just what do you anticipate the race to be like Sunday?
Oh yeah, I've never run a Cup car here before, so it's all kind of a fresh start from that aspect, except for the test we ran a few weeks ago. So I think it's all still pretty relative. I think like most road courses, even at a place like Sonoma, you see guys trying to stretch tires, and how we talk about running the race backwards from a strategy point. So that'll definitely be big here on Sunday. I expect it to be hard to pass. It's really, really fast, and I do think if you get out front, that's going to be a major advantage, as it is any weekend. So I don't expect that to be any different here.
Nick DeGroot, Motorsport.com. Chase, last week you were talking about how you may want to rethink your approach after the streak of bad races you've had. Does that mean being more conservative and thinking about protecting your position in the chase?
I don't think you need to look at it that way. I think it's just more a matter of trying to improve your result, however you feel like you want to do that. I don't know that a conservative approach or that word, so to speak, is the way to go about it. I think sometimes being too conservative, you can get yourself in more trouble. So I don't really want to change how we do things as a team or what we set forward to try to do at the racetrack each weekend or the result that we're trying to achieve. But for me, anytime you're not getting the result you want to get or you've tore up a lot of race cars like I have here lately, you obviously want to improve upon that. So just try to be a little smarter and do my job better, try to get the result that we show up to the racetrack to get.
Thanks.
We'll go over here, and then we'll go in the back to Woody.
Zach at Woody front stretch. Just said, being a rookie, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So do you see, I don't know, like more positive being a rookie because you didn't know what it was like back then, maybe with a new track surface and new car setups?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, that laps never hurt, and that's why I kind of look back to the test. I think being a help for me just to have some extra laps here. I was glad we were chosen. It was our turn to come do a test, and I was happy it was a road course, especially as bad of a job as I did at Sonoma a few weeks ago. So I figured it was a good time for me to get some road course practice in a Cup car, and to come and try to improve. Hopefully where we're going to try to get going this weekend, setup wise, and hopefully be acclimated to the track a little sooner. So I know it's a repave, and obviously unknowns, I guess, so to speak, but it's really similar to me to the old Watkins Glen. Still really fast. They did a good job paving it. It is as similar, I think, as you could have a repave to an old surface as possible. So the old surface was still really fast, had a lot of grip, wasn't really any issues with it, so I expect it to be similar to races you've seen here in the past.
Go to Woody.
Woody Kane with MRN. Chase, got an off-the-wall one for you. With the Olympics starting up this weekend, I was just curious if you'll follow any of those sports, you enjoy them, and if you could pick one that you could be good at, what would it be?
Yeah, definitely. Fun question. I like this. I think, I've always been a fan of the Olympics. Who isn't? Anytime you have a chance to cheer on your country and keep up with that medal count, hopefully they can rack up some golds here starting soon. But I really don't have a huge preference in what sport it is. I think for the most part, I'm not going to say all of them, but I can find entertainment in watching the majority of them, and even things that you don't necessarily know a lot about, whether it's swimming or golf, whatever it is. I can make it entertaining and watch it. And those guys are so good at what they do, and they bring such a competition level to those games. It's impressive. So I can find entertainment and pull for. You always have somebody to pull for from USA, so I'm good with that. I wish I could play golf a little better than what I do currently. I'm not a very good golfer, but definitely would like to improve upon that.
Do we have any additional questions for Chase? Oh, Holly up front.
Holly K, NASCAR.com. Chase, could you talk a little bit about the dynamic of, originally we weren't anticipating Jeff having to come back, obviously, and help out Dale like that, but your relationship with him as somebody that was going to be leaving the car that you were getting in versus now racing against him. What is the dynamic like, and what is your relationship like with Jeff now that you're teammates like this?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Obviously, never would have thought that it would have worked out like this, but you know, for him, I think more than anything, he's being a really good teammate, and to come back and to offer his support and do what he can do behind the wheel, which is, I think, says a lot about him and his character. He could be off doing a lot of other things, I'm sure. He's been racing for a long time. So I think for him to come back, I feel like means a lot to the organization as a whole. For me, definitely different. I mean, obviously, you know, racing against Jeff, who you didn't think you were going to race against ever again, probably. I ran a few races with him last year. It's pretty neat. And I think he's been a big help in, you know, recognizing where we are, you know, week to week, trying to help us improve. He has a lot of great insight. He's very aware of what's going on, aware of our competitors, aware of where he feels like we're getting beat in certain aspects, and he does a really good job of explaining that, breaking it down, and trying to explain that to our engineers and the people at Hendrick. So I think that's a good thing, and I think he's been a good teammate, obviously leading up to this year, and certainly I think he still is, you know, racing each weekend, and I've enjoyed racing with him, and I'm sure he'll be one of the ones to beat. He's pretty good here.
All right. Oh, one more question over here.
Tyler had the racing experts. Chase, you said at the beginning that you didn't have quite the run that you wanted at Sonoma. Has there been anything that you've been able to do between then and now as far as trying to get a better result this weekend, or is it really just getting more laps underneath you?
Just the test. I mean, really and truly, that, you know, you can spend time and go. And I was listening to Chris talk about, you know, they went out and did a road race school. I think that Ford set up for them. I've done some great schools that Chevrolet set up for us. I've really enjoyed out in Vegas, and those are great opportunities, you know, that the manufacturers set up to go and run and get laps. But there's no better way to get reps than to do it in a stock car, excuse me, in a cup car, and one of these things they just drive different on a road course than other vehicles. So to get reps and get laps in the actual car that you're going to be driving at the actual racetrack you're going to is pretty rare to see these days. And certainly to get a test, you know, we have allotment of tests, and we try to divide them up equally among our 4 teams. So I was really happy we had this test, especially after the way Sonoma went. And like I said, no better way to get reps than to just come to the actual place you're going to be at in the actual car you're going to run and just make laps. So I think that's the best way to go about that.
In the back.
Ryan Bells, WENY TV. Being your first time here in the Sprint Cup Series, has your dad given you any specific advice that you'll use going into Sunday's race?
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked a lot probably more about this weekend than we have other places throughout the year. I think mostly kind of going back to that test again. He came up here with me to the test and stood in some of the corners, watched. There were, you know, the Brad was here, obviously glad he was okay after his wreck, and a couple other cars that were really, really good and that have had a lot of success here that we've seen, or I've seen just watching on TV the past number of years. So he got to watch and kind of sit in the corner, see what I was doing differently than those guys, and try to address it, make it better. And certainly, like I said, those are some good ones to learn from who have had a lot of success. So I think that was helpful. We've discussed some of it and kind of how to approach some of the corners and some of the areas of the racetrack differently than how I started the day approaching it at the first day of the test. So I think that was helpful, and I expect him to do some of the same today if he sees something else going on.